Hi everybody, my name is Johanna and I have been really sick the past few days and I couldn't go outside, so I thought to myself, why not read some books? I hopped on the internet and I tried to find the most viral and most sold and most read books of 2022 because I didn't know what to read really, and these are the books I came up with. So yesterday at night I started listening to Babel in bed because I couldn't sleep and I'm still quite sick. You know, when you're sick you can't sleep so well, so I started listening to it and I'm at 16% right now, and so far nothing really exciting has happened yet. I have to say it's a little bit dense. It was nice to listen before sleeping. It calmed me down a little. So you're just introduced to this world where the British Empire is overpowering like everyone else by using silverwork. And what silverwork is some kind of magic from enchanted silver bars, which is released by using two pairs of words in different languages, which have a similar related meaning but not exactly the same. And I think that's really nice. I really like the idea. I really think in our world it is also some kind of magic. Babel by R.F. Kuang is an about 500 pages long historical fiction fantasy book addressing the topic of colonization and the overpowering force of the British Empire. Since this is not a book I would normally read and the reviews on the internet intimidated me quite a lot, I decided to not read the book in physical copy but listen to the audiobook. So I am back from the bookstore and they actually had both of the books, but I just ended up getting this one, because the other one, my aunt has it. She works at a bookstore and she loves reading and she has like a ton of books, so I just asked her and I'm gonna lend it from her, but I'm just gonna start reading this one for now, and it already looks so nice. I really love the cover and I'm super excited. Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin is a general fiction book with a past-present timeline where you follow the two video game creators Sam and Sadie in different stages of their life. Somehow it reminded me a lot of John Green's books, which I love so much, and I was so excited to start this book. I'm at page 46 now, and so far I really like this book. I can associate very good with Sam and with Sadie, and I feel like, I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else feels like this, but I lately haven't read many books where I felt like I belonged there. Somehow lately I've missed that sense of belonging in a book a little bit, so this one's really nice. And so far I really like it. I can tell this is gonna be a great book and I'm excited to read more. Now I'm gonna walk the dogs and I'm gonna listen to Babel a little bit more, which, not gonna lie, until now feels more like a textbook and a chore than something I'd actually read for fun, but I'm excited to see where it's going. Good morning everybody. So I'm back from holiday. I was in London the last few days and I actually finished Babel. And I will tell you my full review at the end of this video, but it did actually get quite action-packed, which I didn't expect, like after such a long time of it being quite boring. But then I also finished Tomorrow the day before yesterday, and I actually knew from the start when I hadn't even started it that it would be like totally up my alley, and I did love it. But there was one scene which was actually quite tragic and sad. And now I'm reading Lessons in Chemistry. I started the day before yesterday and I'm actually reading this in German. And it's quite the easy read, I think. Maybe it is because I read the other ones in English and this in German, but the language is like super easy. At this point I actually can't say that much about the book, so let's see when I finish this. I hope I can finish it today or tomorrow, and then I'll tell you my final review of all the books. Set in the early 50s, Lessons in Chemistry follows Elizabeth Stott, whose dream of being a scientist is put on hold in a society deeming that women belong in the domestic sphere, not in a professional one. Hi everyone, I got dressed and I'm back and I'm ready for my reviews. But before we start, I just want to mention a few things. First of all, this is my first book review. I've never done it before except in school and with books I really didn't like, so bear with me. The second one is, these are all my personal opinions. I know everyone is completely different and everyone likes different stuff in different books, different styles of writing, different stories. So keep that in mind when listening to this. The third thing, as you might hear, is that my mother language is not English. So I think this also has a big influence on like how I perceive books in other languages. Another thing is, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate. And if you like this video, maybe give it a like or tell me in the comments or anything, so maybe I will do more videos like this. This was really nice for me. I've really had a lot of fun. It motivated me to read a little more. So yeah, the first book I want to talk about, which I haven't mentioned until now in the video, is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is probably the most sold and the most read book of 2022. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I've read it in the past year. I don't really get what the excitement is about. I really didn't like the characters, the storyline, or the writing, or anything about this book in general. I think the message it was trying to send was really nice, but other than that, I really didn't enjoy this book so much. So for me, this was probably one of the worst books. I'm really scared to say this, please don't come for me, but this was probably one of the worst books I've read this whole year or in a long time in general. Yeah, that's just all I have to say about that book, and if you like it, it's fine, of course, but I really didn't enjoy it at all. The next book I read was Babel by R.F. Kuang. As I said before, it kind of starts like very slow and the author takes like a lot of time to like build up this mystical, dark academia vibes fantasy world. And I was listening for it for like 7 hours and I was always thinking, am I missing something? Is there something going on? And I don't get it because there was just nothing happening. She described like characters and the world and Oxford and everything, and she described it in such detail that I thought like all the detail would somehow lead to some part in the story, but they didn't. I didn't get sucked into this world so much, so I didn't like it so much in the beginning, but then very unexpectedly in the end it became like quite action-packed. There were actually like some quite intense moments in the book and the end. So the end I really liked it. So I knew from the start that Babel was not like completely up my alley, and if I hadn't found it for this video, I probably don't think I would have read it. And at the start it really took time for me to get into it, and if I had read it in like physical copy, I probably maybe wouldn't have finished it. But since I listened to it, it actually went faster than I thought, and the ending I enjoyed really much. It is written very, very well. I especially like the inner conflict of the main character, which he has like in the beginning and the middle of the book, between not wanting to give up his like privileged life and then fighting for creating a better and fair world. So yeah, overall it was quite a nice book. I can see why people enjoy it, so I will give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Since I want to talk about my favorite books of the year at the end of the video, I just want to continue with Lessons in Chemistry by Garmus. This book, I found it very, very cute. I think the message is still important. Sexism is still a very big issue in 2022 and 3. It was very nice to read. It was very easy. It was very cute. The ending was very cute. It was a very happy end. And there's one but which I've been thinking about during the whole book, is I think it was a little flat. I just didn't have that many emotions reading it. It was a very light read for me and a very fast read. I mean, it was cute, but it kind of reminded me of something my grandma would read. So in conclusion, I do understand why people like this book. I also really enjoyed reading it. It was a very amusing, light and fast read, but I do not really understand why it's like the top 1 best Spiegel bestseller in Germany, which is like the biggest thing, and why it went so viral. It didn't make that much of an impact on me. I mean, I liked it. It was cute, but more than that, not really. Okay, moving on to Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Sieben. I absolutely love this book. This was like right up my alley. I already knew from the start I was gonna love it. So sorry, I need to read a little bit from my notes here because I made so many for this book. What I loved about this book is that it touches so many subjects. There's like disabilities, sickness, death, poverty, being rich, being a student, studying, like all these different kinds of relationships, from friendship over abusive relationships, romantic relationships. It touches racism, it touches sexism, it touches cultural appropriation even, and I really enjoyed that because in reality, so in my opinion, most books like for example Lessons in Chemistry, they circle around like a very limited amount of subjects, and I think that in real life you really come across all these subjects like your whole life, and for me it's just like more real, and it makes the book feel more real than it like depicts all of those subjects in one book. So maybe the book doesn't dive in that deep into every single one of these issues, but I think that's the same in life. I really like this book. It made me feel so many different kinds of emotions. There's like some very sad part which made me almost like cry, but yeah, it's a very good book. I really loved it. For me, this is like a 5 stars, and I really get the hype. Also, like, it's super pretty. So there's one last book I want to mention because I read it earlier this year and I really enjoyed it too. It is Honey&Spice by Balu Babalola, and it is about this girl at her high school, and she's having this podcast on how to like avoid fuckboys, and she herself is also avoiding relationships pretty much because she feels like basically almost every boy is a fuckboy, and she just doesn't want to have a relationship right now. And then of course this guy Malachi comes as a new student to her school, and of course they fall in love. I just thought the main character Kiki was so funny. She has such a nice tone to her, completely opposite of what I'm used to from like my school, and I think the story is very nice, and it reminded me of like myself and young love and growing up and like everything like around your early 20s, which I feel I'm not completely in it anymore, but like it reminded me of younger me and feeling exactly these feelings, but also like
It's pretty much a different culture, and it was very, very interesting to read. And also, after I read it, I actually also listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was so much fun. So I just wanted to mention Honey and Spice too, because it would also be one of my 5-star books of 2022. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that ramble was somehow understandable and it maybe motivated you to read a little bit more. So see you in the next video. Bye!